it's me, we're back here with Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, where I'm continuing to not do a very good job, but we're surviving barely, so let's get into it. Last time a bombshell was dropped, we discovered more about the conditions of Apollo's assault. Oh, well, I guess that's why he concealed this second photograph in the first place, because it was very obviously incriminating that this case had been moved. Anyway, just to recap for you, if you are, if it's been time or whatever, Apollo was knocked out, and Juniper's last name was written on in blood on the floor here, but this bomb transport case was obviously moved after his assault because it runs over his bandages. Therefore, he couldn't have written it on that position because it was sitting there. And moreover, I don't think he could have written it anyway if he got knocked unconscious by a blow to the head, but whatever. We had to prove it with the stupid dirt track thing because these cases are rigged as hell. It's fine. I'm not bitter about it. Not at all. And Athena was just being very, very polite and praising our work there. You did it, boss! It was a real nail biter, but you pulled it off! Yep, that should bring down the prosecution's claim like a house of cards. Let's hear what he has to say about it, the judge, that is. Order in the court! Mr. Wright, that was a very clever deduction. It was nothing, Your Honor. I'm a pure genius. Take that! Boss! I'm sensing a definite smug and braggy vibe coming off of you. I like how Phoenix normally is very cordial and polite, but then every now and then he just has to toot his own horn. Which, fair enough, he is kind of a genius sometimes.
I have just one question, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
If Mr. Justice didn't leave this message in blood, then who did?
Huh? What? Oh! Well... Looks like I should have taken that train of thought through to the last station. My earlier claim applies, though. Ted Tone 8 was unaccounted for during that sequence.
Well, I've heard a lot about this. So this is Mr. Wright's famous bluffing technique, is it?
No, it's not a bluff. It may have brought me to a position that makes my client look more guilt, or potentially casts more doubt on her, but that's not what a bluff is.
Oh, this feeling, it brings back memories of the old days. Back when you carved out a name for yourself by bluffing your way through thick and thin.
Gee, Mr. Wright, the judge kind of makes you sound no better than a 2-bit con man.
You made your argument with such confidence, Mr. Wright. Now I'd like to hear your answer with just as much confidence.
I don't have to know who wrote the blood to point out this is suspicious as hell. Hey, until the judge asked the question, you didn't catch on either, Buster.
What now, boss? I hope you didn't bluff your way into a corner.
Think, Phoenix, think. There must be a way through this. I have to dig my way to the truth somehow. Who could have written that message in blood? The culprit, I think. Well, I mean, there was a period of time where it was unaccounted for, so I guess someone else could have written it, but the culprit makes the most sense, does it not? Who else would want to frame someone? If Apollo didn't leave that bloody writing, maybe it was Apollo's attacker who wrote it and made it look like Apollo did it. That seems like the most reasonable explanation. But wait a minute, I just realized something, boss. What is it? Look at the amount of blood in the photo. It doesn't look like Apollo bled very much. Well, I thought you were just keeping it PG, but I agree, it doesn't. There's blood on the rock, but you don't see blood on Apollo anywhere. Except for his finger. Like I said, where did he put his finger to get that amount of blood? I wonder if it's even possible to write out woods with just this much. Hey, you're right. Good thing Apollo didn't lose that much blood. That might be a factor in why he survived the assault. And since there was so little blood, that pretty much rules out his attacker, huh? What? Why? I don't understand how that's at all related. If we're saying Apollo didn't lose enough blood to write that, then we're saying it's not Apollo's blood. It's someone else's blood. So how does that mean that the attacker couldn't have just cut their arm and written it, or used fake blood or something? I don't know. I guess so. But if it wasn't his attacker, then who else could it have been? Someone else then, I guess, but I don't understand why. If it wasn't Apollo, who could have left the bloody message? Again, Mans was unaccounted for during that time. Take that!
This person left the bloody writing? And what do you base this claim on?
Do I really need to base my claim on something? Boss?
Of course you do. Don't tell me you don't have anything at all to back up your assertion.
He was unaccounted for during the assault. Nothing in particular, really.
That won't do, Mr. Wright, but a penalty will make up for your deficiency very nicely.
Wasn't there another person who said blood at the crime? Oh, you're saying it's Candace. Why? Why would it be her? You're telling me the prosecution didn't notice this in between? Wait, do we not have... okay, this is what it is, but how is that even remotely possible? To be honest, I don't actually have any real proof of this. But I've come this far. There's no turning back now. Besides Apollo, there was one more person who shed blood at this crime scene.
A person who shed blood? You don't mean...
No, but I do. I believe it was Candace Arm who left behind this message in blood.
What?
And nobody noticed it. Not the defense, not the prosecution, not a single person noticed it until today. For reasons we can't possibly imagine. What? Detective Arm? Are you sure you know what you're doing here? Not really.
What kind of ridiculous assertion is that? If you had said the attacker lit the message to throw people off, it might have made sense.
At first glance, that would seem to be the most reasonable explanation. However, Apollo didn't shed enough blood to write such an extensive message. Fake blood doesn't exist, and you can't possibly get blood from yourself. These are facts. It's especially useful that we're not going to run any kind of forensics on the blood that was on the scene.
Uh-oh.
Ah, I see. Even the photo makes it clear there wasn't enough blood to write all those letters. And Mr. Justice did survive. I suppose he didn't bleed very extensively in that case. It's impossible to bleed inside your body.
But why would Detective Arm write the defendant's name? There was no connection between the two whatsoever. And I didn't even know the lady who was killed. I admit the investigation didn't turn up any connection between the victim and the defendant.
Yes, this right here, Payne, this is bluffing.
They had never even met each other.
That's very true. Well, then, let's see. Maybe the intended meaning of the message is not what it appears to be.
The intended meaning?
I guess Woods is also a word, and it's not only a name. Not what it appears to be. Maybe the message was not intended to be Woods.
Coming from you, that's quite the bold statement, Mr. Wright.
Actually, now that I think about it, it is, there's more of it that's cracked off in this rubble here, right? I thought this was an exclamation mark, but it could very easily be more of a word. What it might be, I'm not sure.
You wish to assert that this bloody writing could have some other meaning?
Yes, Your Honor. For something I pulled out of a wormhole, it could turn out to be true, right? No, don't read my thoughts!
It clearly says Woods, as anyone can plainly see. What other meaning could it possibly have?
There's stuff broken, you don't know! But Candace Arm was a detective. Maybe Woods only means something to the police? Like a police scanner code, for example.
I didn't think of that.
You may have tricked His Honor, but you'll never get the best of me.
Yes, insult the judge. That's a good plan. Keep doing that.
I have a thing for studying on the weekends, as you may have already guessed. And there is no such radio code as WOODS in this state, dear Mr. Wright.
Is that a fact? Don't look at me. I know as much as you do about police codes.
Enough of this. I was quite taken with the defense's new theory, but if they can't substantiate it with anything, then I must end things here.
No, please, wait, Your Honor.
Very well. But before we discuss this theory any further, I demand a plausible explanation. So, Mr. Wright, what is the true meaning of the bloody writing?
Well, I believe it's...
And no stalling! If you can't come up with an answer quickly, I will declare this discussion officially over.
I'm in trouble now. What other meaning could it have besides the obvious one? Maybe it means something in another language, or maybe it's a code. Think, Phoenix, you can do this. Which piece of evidence will tell us what it really means? Photograph, I would guess. Unless it's one of these identification numbers. But it doesn't look like the same format, I wouldn't say. I say the photograph. Take that! That doesn't look good.
What exactly is your point, Mr. Wright? I thought this evidence was supposed to tell me what Woods really means.
But doesn't it, Your Honor?
Are you asking me or telling me?
I guess I'll let you be the judge of that.
Yes, I'll do the judging around here. And I judge that you deserve a penalty.
Okay. So, the explanation that there is more than just Woods written out is completely bogus, apparently. WOODS... blah blah. I don't understand what what mention of another bomb transport case would do, although I guess it would be useful. I don't see any kind of code on this thing. Does it mean something else upside down? 5 backwards DOOM? I don't think so. No, God, I'm so sorry. This entire playthrough has just been... This is how this entire playthrough is gonna be, isn't it? I've genuinely got nothing. Width is a W. Watch a different playthrough right now. This is not going to end well. Something here that looks like the word Woods? Oh, what do you mean something that looks like the word Woods? I assume it's not this identification thing, because it goes letter, number, number, number. It's a letter enclosed on either sides and then 5 numbers. At no point is there ever a letter in the middle, so if that can't be what they're trying to lead me to, or at least I hope not. Oh god, I just realized I'm not covering up the clock in this, so you're going to be able to see how long I'm taking to think on certain parts. Oh jeez. Oh no. It's okay, I was never hiding the fact that I'm not doing a very good job of this. I got nothing, I'll try the case next. The bomb transport case? I've had it up to here with your shenanigans, Wright. Take a look at the numbers on this case, Your Honor. You'll notice that it goes letter, number, letter, but let's forget about that for a moment. L10015R. Doesn't this string look vaguely familiar? L100... What does that have to do with anything?
What could those numbers possibly have to do with the case at hand?
Now please take a look at the bloody writing shown in the crime scene photo.
Oh, I think I see it.
And a girl. That's the one on my side. It says Woods. Or you could say it's a horse of a different color, Your Honor. The first character isn't a W. It's actually an L and a 1. Excuse me? I would consider that to be a bit of a stretch, Phoenix. This is the L and this is the 1? What? That would make this 5R, though. I can see that, but what number is D? Okay, no, you know what? I think I see what they're saying is, it did originally say L10015R, and someone added stuff to it to make it look like it said Woods. Someone like the culprit, which I already said, but they said I was an idiot for, so whatever. Yup, I wouldn't have guessed that, so I'm glad Phoenix said that. It's actually an L and a 1. The next 2 are zeros. Oh my goodness! Bam! The true meaning behind the bloody writing isn't Miss Woods' name, it's the number engraved on this bomb transport case.
Dude, what are you talking about? The next spot doesn't make any sense. The next number is a 1, but the bloody writing says D.
I can see how it could have been added after, but the number on the case and the bloody writing can be made to match up quite easily. This is how the number on the transport case can be made to match the bloody writing. How the number on the transport case can be made to match the bloody writing? You'd have to add lines to the transport case. I'm sure that they must mean erase in the bloody writing, which case you just erase, I guess, this one and then this thing, which is not a line but a curve. Please erase the third downward stroke of the W and the curved part of the D, which, you know, not a line, but whatever. Wow, would you look at that? L-I-O-O-I-S. No, Your Honor, it's not meant to be read as a word. It's the number L10, never mind. It's the thing on the case, which, if you take away the final R, is the exact same number that's on the bomb transport case.
Erase 2 lines and they match up, you say? Well, I can change anything into anything else simply by erasing 2 lines.
Well, not 2, anyway.
What if we erase 2 lines from your name? Would you be happy as Mr. Wright?
Well, would you, Mr. Wright?
The only right spelling is right. Okay, I'm doing pretty well here, and I think I've drawn the right conclusion. Detective Arm's real message to us is the bomb transport case number. Your Honor, the 2 lines were added by the real culprit to intentionally mislead people, like I said before when no one believed me.
What?
The original message Detective Arm left behind was the transport case number. Well, okay, no, to be fair, what I said before was that the entire message was written by the culprit. But whoever assaulted Apollo changed the message. If you're right, boss, then what do you suppose Detective Arm was trying to tell us? Good question. What does this number represent? Well, the bomb transport case, so something peculiar about the bomb, I guess. Maybe you look there and we'll find the fingerprints of someone responsible. I don't know. I guess we don't know just yet. Do you see this number? Oh, well, it's only his. Right. He's the only one assigned to that, so it has to involve him anyway. Do you see this number here? That is my identification number. Candace Arm lost her life in the courtroom bombing. Her dying message could only have had one purpose.
No.
To tell us the name of the one responsible for the bombing.
Well, don't keep us in suspense, Mr. Wright. Tell us who she was trying to name.
The culprit was the victim. Ted Tenate! Take that! The defense wishes to indict Mr. Ted Tenate on the charge of the courtroom bombing. Please shut up in the back. I can barely hear the judge.
Ted Tenate?
Apparently, disabling bombs isn't Mr. Tenate's only specialty. Somehow, the victim must have realized that he was the bomber. So when she was caught in the blast, she left his bomb transport case number as her dying message. She used Mr. Tenate's own ID number to figure him for the crime.
Why would anyone go out of their way to write an ID number? Wouldn't they simply write the person's name?
He's got a good point there.
What do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright?
That's a very good question. It's not his real name? I don't know. That only Detective Arm would know the answer to that, but also allow me to offer a theory. Perhaps Detective Arm couldn't recall Mr. Tenate's name in the heat of the moment. As I recall, this was the first meeting between the two. It's entirely possible they wouldn't have been familiar with each other. That's also a good point. And plus, she was struck in the head, so she probably wasn't in her 100% right mind. Although I shouldn't say that, because that maybe cast doubt suspicion on her accusation. Or maybe using the ID number was a way to hide its true meaning from the real culprit. I would think the culprit would recognize their own ID number. That's lowering the odds that they would erase the bloody writing. But no matter what the reason, the important thing is the meaning behind her message. The fact remains, she wrote Mr. Tenate's ID number.
Now, just one moment here. There hasn't been any proof yet that it was indeed Detective Arm who wrote it. The bloody writing wasn't found during the investigation after the blast.
Well, this was my point, although I guess we're saying the case was there before, right?
If Detective Arm had left the message, it should have been found at that time.
Objection!
Naturally, Mr. Tenate hid it before anyone else could discover it. And there's a simple explanation for how he was able to do so.
What?
Mr. Tenate was able to cover the message up because he's wearing those weird goggles, the first to find the body, a stickler for details. Well, okay, this is the only one that isn't ridiculous. The first person to discover the bloody writing was Mr. Tenate himself.
I was the first one on the scene after the explosion.
I did forget about that detail because it doesn't write it down anywhere.
I went there to ensure safety, but I ended up discovering a dead body.
But thankfully the other two answers were ridiculous to the point that it had to be that. When Mr. Tenate saw that the victim had written his ID number, he used the bomb transport case to cover up the bloody writing as a stopgap measure, until I could think of a better way to deal with it.
Oh, so that's why the message in blood was used under the transport case.
He didn't have enough time to try and scrub away the writing. If he didn't report the body right away, he would look suspicious. So those letters lived on to serve another function. When Mr. Tenate used them in another incident.
Oh, the assault on Mr. Justice!
Exactly. Mr. Tenate hit upon a plan to use the bloody writing for his own purposes, so he didn't clean it away. Instead, he made it look like Mr. Justice wrote it, by adding the two lines to the writings that Detective Arm left behind. One of which was not a line, but in fact a curve. He changed the meaning of the message. Looking at it now, I probably should have been able to figure out, because those ones are clearly, like, thicker blood. He made it look like Mr. Justice was accusing Mr. Woods of the attack. So that means the only person who could have altered the bloody writing was the courtroom bomber, who was the same person that assaulted Mr. Justice. And that person is Ted Tonate. You managed to keep your hair on so far, so I guess the trial's not over. But it feels like we brought up a very, very plausible explanation, doesn't it?
Order in the court, order, I say. Oh, looks like we'll have to hear from the bomb specialist himself. Mr. Payne, please have Mr. Tenate take the witness stand.
Yes, Your Honor.
That was great, Mr. Wright. Just doing what I do best, which is flying by the seat of my pants.
Dismantling the case is yours. Do you think you can handle it? I look forward to seeing you try.
Man, he was a real dick 5 minutes ago. Finally drawn Mr. Tenate back onto the witness stand. Looks like you'll get your wish, Goggle Man. Now watch me take your lies apart. Most likely with considerably less efficacy than anything so far, because I'm on a serious downward trend right now.
Mr. Tenate, I'm afraid
I just want one evidence poll where I don't feel like a complete loser and I took 3 tries to get it.
Mr. Tenate, I'm afraid we have a few more questions for you. I understand the situation, Your Honor. I was keeping a close eye on the proceedings from the gallery. The allegations are all laughable.
Objection! Don't laugh at me! I'm trying so hard, please! I wouldn't be laughing if I were you, Mr. Tenate. The message in blood matches your ID number, which we've brought onto the floor for some reason. The same ID number that is there on that bomb transport case.
Such a far-fetched theory. No better than a tangled ball of wires.
That had about tangled for you no time at all.
You were the first person on the scene after Detective Arm left her message in blood. Which we haven't confirmed yet because we won't do forensics on it. I refuse! You were the only one who could have hidden the writing and then used it again later.
I see ×2. But then, let me ask you, do you have any proof that Detective Arm wrote that message? That's a very good question. Well, do you, Mr. Wright?
The best way to prove that Detective Arm wrote that message is to analyze the handwriting or analyze the DNA. Blood doesn't contain DNA as such, does it? There probably would be some DNA there. Do we have anything else that she wrote? Well, it doesn't show my health bar here, so I guess there's not precisely a wrong answer. Well, your handwriting wouldn't necessarily be the same if you were massively concussed and bleeding to death. Analyze the DNA? Your Honor, I request that a DNA test be performed on the blood itself. Once we know whose it is, it'll be obvious as to who wrote the message.
Very well. Bailiff, please put in a request for a DNA test with the forensics team.
Yours, Your Honor. You can figure out DNA from blood, I guess.
It will be some time before we have the results of the analysis, so naturally, I'll give you more opportunities to completely fail the case intermittently. Until then, let's hear more from the witness.
I would like nothing more, Your Honor. I want the court to hear how ridiculous the defense's theory is.
They probably will, don't worry. They've heard my terrible ideas already so far, after the explosion.
I admit I was the first one on the scene after the explosion. In fact, I was the one who told you that in the first place, so I shouldn't have to admit it. But there was no bloody writing there at the time. Anyway, there is no way Detective Arm could have written it. She struck her head on rubble and died near the courtroom entrance. She was too far away from where the bloody message was found.
That's a decent point. So you're saying that the victim's body was nowhere near where the writing was?
Precisely. It is as plain as day that she could not have written it.
It's true that the body was discovered near the entrance to the courtroom. Please have a look at this crime scene photo.
Oh, another one. Good.
As you can see, there is blood on the rubble near the victim's body. She must have died after hitting her head there.
Maybe this game was M because of all the blood. It does seem like there's more blood than earlier games. They're using it a lot as factors in the case. Courtroom bombing photo added to the court record. I need to have a look at this.
I see. All right then, Mr. White, you may cross it. Mr. White? Sorry. Wrong crime. You're not cooking meth on the side, are you, Phoenix Wright? All right then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
I'd like to have a look at this photograph.
Look at this photograph.
Crime scene photo of the aftermath of courtroom bombing around the victim.
Yes, okay.
I still find it weird that there's like dried blood on the shirt when this stuff looks very fresh and wet. Is she wearing gloves or is she just like pale? I think she's not. I think she is not wearing gloves. This little like sticking out bit of like iron bar does. I think that's meant to be like this stuff. So the diagram and I agree so far. Shoot, I definitely have to press some more on this. I don't see a. I haven't yet come across a testimony where I spotted the thing immediately this time, and usually you get like one or two of those.
Do you have what it takes to take my infallible testimony apart?
We'll see about that when I die. Let me just see what Athena has to say about this. The victim's body and the writing are several yards away from each other. There's no way she could reach.
Quite the conundrum.
So that means something is off somewhere. There must be a contradiction. Maybe the body was moved. But that doesn't explain how blood got onto the rubble. What if that was done by the real culprit after the fact? If that's the case, then something about that might contradict the evidence we have. The blood, you mean, on the rubble. I mean, if they were going around adding... I guess if they were adding blood to the, Oh, well, that would explain the dried blood that I've been pointing out and complaining about since the first moment we got this photograph. If they were going around adding blood to the scene to make it say Woods instead of L10015R, then they could have added some here and on the back of her head, which would explain why it was more fresh looking than the stuff on her shirt, which could have been her actual blood, I guess. I'm just gonna push on a few things and see if I can get more information about this. There's no way Detective Arm could have written it? Hold it! If she didn't write it, then who do you propose did?
Mr. Justice, of course. Just before dying, he wrote the name of his attacker, Juniper Woods.
A final message from your poor subordinate.
Final? Hey, easy there.
Poor Mr. Justice. I'm starting to get all misty-eyed.
Apollo is not dead, folks. So how can you be so sure it wasn't Detective Arm who wrote the message?
It is very simple.
She struck her head on rubble and died near the courtroom entrance. Hold it! Do you imagine she was thrown back by the force of the blast?
A bomb can inflict damage not only from the explosion itself, but also substantial secondary damage from the blast wind.
Detective Arm unfortunately hit her head on some rubble. It's stated in her autopsy report as well. Cause of death, trauma to back of head.
The autopsy report. I better take another look at that. That's actually a very, very good point, because doesn't it say she was struck by something flat? This is not the autopsy. Wait, what? Flat object. Yeah, wait, this is clearly a corner, is it not? It's flat on this side, but it... I guess you could say... Well, no, but if you hit your head like that, how would the blood even get all over the other side of it? No, that doesn't make any sense.
Now, do you see? Detective Arm could not have written that message. The reason for that being...
Whenever they give you a detail like that, like it was a flat object, it's usually important. She struck her head on rubble and died near the courtroom entrance. I'm gonna present the autopsy report here then. Especially since they basically told me to.
I have very little health. I object.
You're a terrible liar, Mr. Tenate. I know that because I spent 5 hours looking at this and only just found a clue that maybe you were slightly wrong about something. Take a look at this autopsy, specifically the part about Detective Arm's head injury. Cause of death, trauma to back of the head caused by impact with a flat object.
Yes, what about it?
Now take a good look at the bloody piece of rubble. It's sharp and pointed. Hey, you're right, boss. It is pointy. Just like your hair.
That is odd, isn't it? What could be the meaning of this contradiction?
I believe it means the victim did not hit her head on this piece of rubble. The bloodstain you see is just another fabrication. I guess if you were struck on the back of the head, it wouldn't make a bleeding wound really in the same way, would it? Certainly not enough to like spray blood all over something. Its purpose is to mislead us into thinking the victim died near the courtroom entrance.
Are you claiming the culprit moved the victim's body?
That's exactly what I'm claiming. The victim hit her head at some other location, most likely on the floor or some other flat surface. And this location was somewhere near where the bloody writing was found. In that case, she definitely could have written the message. I still think I still find it improbable to be so concussed that you're going to die and still have time to write a comprehensive message, but never mind. Your Honor, is the blood sample back? I have the results of the bloodstain analysis.
Oh, very good timing. Let's take a look. According to this report, the message was written in Detective Arm's blood. And as the defense claims, only the parts of the message that were added afterwards were written in Mr. Justice's blood.
Ah, good.
It would appear that the defense's assertion is correct after all.
Bloody writing analysis added to the court record. Well, that's certainly useful.
Yes! You did it!
You were right, boss. Now I have to drive it home. I'll have to take a good look at the bloody writing analysis later. One. Actually, I would like to look at that now, please. Oh, there's more. No, there's another page. DNA analysis definitively proves that the blood of the writing to be that of the victim, Candace Arm, age 27. However, the lines that were added later were found to be written in the blood of Apollo Justice, age 23. Presumably added by the attacker at the time of the attack. To make it seem like Apollo had written out Woods altogether. I understand. Yes, okay. Right.
Mr. Tenate, it is now apparent that you have told several lies to the court. I hope you have some sort of explanation for yourself.
Fine, I will confess.
You will? But then why are you so calm? Confess to a different crime, I expect.
This time, I will tell the truth.
Ruh-roh, more testimony, Scoob.
The truth.
Ooh, hyped up person's testimony. Clear we're getting close.
It is true that Detective Arm wrote my ID number. She very plainly wrote L10015R. I was shocked, but I did not detonate the bomb. Detective Arm must have mistaken me for the real bomber. Not wanting to be accused, I moved the body and covered the writing. My bad.
Here, let me just think about this and what it implies. You're now saying, let me just repaint the picture of the scene in my head. I'm obviously not in the right headspace for this game. I've been failing so hard so far. So which we know it's a lie because we know you did it. Situation which you're proposing to throw us off is you walked in there and saw her. Oh, let me look at the diagram. You walked in there, saw her corpse lying roughly where the writing is, and the case was already there. And then you dragged Candace Arm's body over to the left there. And then, what the hell about all the blood? Where did that come from then?
I see. So it is your assertion that you merely moved the body. Is that it?
That is correct. I did not kill Detective Arm.
Oh, well, if that's all you did, then... No, wait a minute! That in and of itself is a criminal act!
That's why he said he confesses, I guess. Glad to see you finally crossed that finish line, Your Honor.
Very well, then. Your cross-examination, please, Mr. Wright.
I think she's just trying to draw our focus away from the fact that someone planted blood on the scene. Oh, well, she very plainly wrote L10015R. I guess that's not exactly true because the bit of it was cracked off. Is that right? Maybe that's the contradiction they want me to see. I never know if it's like, because that's a contradiction. I don't think it's damning exactly because it doesn't very clearly say L1. It's a contradiction, but there's a reasonable. I could see a reasonable. You could reasonably just say I saw L10015 and figured the R was coming. But I think it does not. It's not obvious in the picture. I don't know if that's what they want me to get at here. I'm just going to say hold it here in case he adds something that very clearly says, I could see the whole thing spelled out. Hold it! L10015R. And it was written after the bomb went off in the courtroom.
Correct. I didn't know why she would write it, so that sent me into a panic, which is why I'm smiling at the memory.
Sounds like you were in quite a tizzy.
If I were in his shoes, I guess it would have psyched me out too. I can't imagine coming across the message "Psych's" written in blood. Is there a reason you're not using widget, by the way? This seems like a great time to prove that he doesn't feel surprised. I guess it's not exactly that you prove anything with the emotion. You can just sort of, if someone's suppressed something unwillingly, you can drag it out of them. I guess that's the idea. But if they're lying about something, they're just going to keep lying about it. That's probably the way it works.
If I saw gasp and pain written in blood, it'd certainly make me gasp. Rest assured, Mr. Tate, I understand how you must have felt.
And so you discovered your ID number written in blood at the scene, and...
That is right. I saw it with my own eyes. It very clearly said L10015R.
Okay, they're saying that. That's obviously what they wanted to say. Now this is one of those situations where I could either take the bloods, this one or this one to present here. But sometimes, because they both very clearly show that it's broken off there, but sometimes the game does not see things through my lens, and it says that I should do one over the other. I think the photograph makes the most sense. Objection! I just want to make double sure that L10015R is really what you saw written in blood.
Yes, it very clearly said L10015R.
But that's odd, because that's not what I see.
What on earth are you babbling about now? Wasn't it you who claimed that the bloody writing was his ID number in the first place?
Take a good look at the photo in the bloody writing analysis. Now tell me, does it really say L10015R? Something is missing, isn't it? And that something is the final R. Well, the only R.
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Tonate?
Oh, right. Now I remember. There was no R on the end. It was just a slip of the finger. My bad.
Come back, my beautiful contradiction. Mr. Wright, I'm not so sure it was just a simple slip of the finger. You have something for me, Athena? I sense that he's extremely agitated, almost panicked. I also sense this. He does look pretty flustered.
Well, Mr. Wright, it appears it was nothing more than a mere mistake.
I don't know. Did he really just make a typo? What about that R? Did Mr. Tonate really see it? He thought he saw an R, or he actually saw it. If he actually saw it and the whole thing was written out there and he removed the piece of rubble, like the piece of the floor that was upturned for a particular reason, I can't imagine why. Oh, because you couldn't have written Woods. No, that doesn't... He couldn't have smashed up the floor that bad. Maybe that was it. Maybe he took out the R because you can't write Woods with that on the end. That's pretty flimsy. Sorry, I've got it all twisted now. So the scene is, I got to think about it. The scene of what actually happened, not what he told us, but what actually happened. Man, so this is he comes upon Candace's arm there. Corpse splayed out on the ground, wrote L10015R, and we know the body gets moved. So he moves the body over there, and then pours a bunch of fake blood on it, whatever. That happens later, I guess. And then moves the case over there for when the next day when Apollo and Juniper are there. I think he actually saw it. He must have done. Because it's clearly almost written there. So it's not like she just wrote a little like exclamation mark or something beside it. She was clearly writing the R and then it got moved somehow. So he had to have seen it. Yeah, she wrote it at some point. He was the first on scene. He had to have seen it. But there's no R anywhere in the bloody writing. So what's going on here? Huh? Now that I take another good look at this photo, I think maybe... That's it! What is it now, Mr. Wright? Are you trying to imitate Apollo and his cords of steel? I've got it. So that's what happened. A slip of the finger. Is that really all it was? Because I don't think so. I propose that Mr. Tonate really did see the letter R.
But the photo clearly shows that there is no R.
No, Your Honor, actually just the opposite is true. The photo shows that Mr. Tonate actually could have seen the R.
If you're going to make that claim, then you better be able to point out what you mean. What part of the photo shows that Mr. Tonate could have seen the R?
Well, the R. I would think. Take that! Please look here to the right of the 5. Do you see a little bit of red?
Oh, I see it. Just on the edge of where the floor is broken up.
That's the R that Mr. Tonate saw.
It's true that the witness wears some very, very odd goggles, but that doesn't mean his eyesight is bad, nor his brain power. What about if that little smudge looks like an R to you?
The part that's on the pit of the floor that is moved. But what Mr. Tonate saw wasn't that little smudge. There was a whole incomplete R written there, before the floor was damaged by the explosion.
What? But she was killed in the explosion. Where are you going with this?
Oh, well, that explains it. Huh? Care to explain what you mean? Because you just proposed that everything that happened is the exact opposite order. Sorry. Yep, because that's the way it really went down. The timing of when the R was written turns everything about this case around. Now then, if the floor was damaged by the explosion, when was the message written? Before the explosion is the only explanation, but how and why? With the bloody message running... I just noticed we did have the case on the floor in this trial as well. Could the case have been on the floor during that trial? I guess we didn't know. With the bloody message running off the edge of the damaged floor like that, it had to have been written before the floor was damaged. We can only conclude that it was written before the explosion.
But that's ridiculous!
If that were true, it overturns your own premise.
That's right, it does. In fact, it turns everything upside down. The victim was not killed by the explosion in the courtroom. She was killed before the explosion ever occurred. She would have had to admit if she was writing it in her own blood at that point.
Order in the court!
What kind of preposterous claim is that? Have you forgotten that the victim's body was found at the scene of the explosion?
True, but consider this scenario. She was hit on the head and killed before the explosion, or even before the trial began. Her body was subsequently placed in the courtroom ruins after the bombing occurred. Were there no accounts that she was there during? That way, it could be made to look like she was a victim of the blast.
What?
It sounds like we had better look into what the victim was doing right before the trial.
This does bring up another point that I was confused about, though, which is that it makes absolutely no sense that she would have gotten out last. Or that there would have been, or it's extremely a high chance, it's a massive coincidence that she was ushering everyone out and then just barely died at the last second at the entrance.
Mr. Payne, did anyone see Detective Vaughn before the trial?
Let's see. According to the police report... here it is. One person saw the victim before the trial.
Was it Ted Tenate?
And that person was Ted Tenate. Wait, what?
No one besides Mr. Tenate saw the victim?
That appears to be the case, Your Honor.
Man, is your period really spread out across the keyboard right now much? I would think if you were typing the same character, you wouldn't need to move your hand over the hand keyboard so much. I would now ask the court to recall something. Specifically, Mr. Tenate's words from yesterday.
Air Force One Detective Arm and I were transporting a bomb.
Oh, right. You would have been together when transporting the bomb, because you said those things.
Oh my.
Mr. Tenate, just before the trial, you were the victim. Or you were with the victim, even. Sorry, no, you're not dead. The two of you were together at the scene of the crime, courtroom number 4. Your Honor, the defense requests new testimony from Mr. Tenate. We wish to hear what he has to say about his whereabouts just before the trial.
Mr. Tenate, your testimony, please.
My testimony? There is no need for...
He's completely unnerved, Mr. Wright. You must have hit the nail on the head.
Because I like to stand for the bomb to the courtroom. I already told you.
I'm blasting. They was only in the courtroom with the victim because of my work. I swear I was only transporting the bomb.
Please stop talking like that. You and the victim were alone together at the scene of the crime. In other words, you certainly had the opportunity to commit murder, did you not?
Do you always leave yourself so open to attacks, Mr. Wright?
What now, Mr. Payne?
Yes, Mr. Tenate may have had the opportunity to kill Detective Arm, but an important piece of your assertion is missing.
What important piece?
The murder weapon. What do you claim was used to kill the victim?
Mr. Payne has a point. Even if Mr. Tenate had the chance, without a weapon, we can't accuse him of the crime.
Have you ever been punched in the back of the head, Your Honor? You can die from that.
Well, Mr. Tenate? Oh, yes, that's right. I didn't have any sort of thing that could be used as a murder weapon on me. I couldn't possibly have killed Detective Arm.
Did he really have nothing he could use as a murder weapon? What is it, Athena? I'm just looking over the victim's autopsy report. I'm hoping there's something in here that can point us in the right direction. Killed by a flat... Oh, between 8 and 11 a.m. I didn't even think about that. What time did he say he was with her? Try to back ahead cause of impact with a flat object. Yeah, impact also. So murder weapon, like you said before, it could have been that his head hit the floor. If you, I don't know, shove someone, they tripped backwards hard enough, hit their head, that's still dead. I wasn't even thinking about the time. Well, it does say that she died from trauma to the back of the head with a flat object. Yeah, and to inflict that kind of specific injury, all you would need is a flat surface, right? A heavy, blunt object with a flat surface could definitely be a murder weapon, like the case you're saying, but... right?
Well, Mr. Wright, can you indicate for the court what was used to kill Detective Arm?
I believe I can. Believe being the key word here.
You can?
Then please do so now. What did Mr. Tenate have that could be used as a murder weapon?
This could have been used as the murder weapon. It's not definitive proof, but it could be. This must have been the murder weapon.
Don't be ridiculous.
Ha! You fell right into my trap. So you confirmed that this piece of evidence was not the murder weapon. That narrows my candidates down by 1. Sorry, I guess it could also have been the remote, because they said they were transporting the case, so they would have had that on hand. And it's probably easier to hit someone in the back of the head with that than forcing them to be down near the floor, so you can ram them with the case. I hope you don't intend to answer by process of elimination, Mr. Wright.
Because if you do, prepare to see me do more of this to you.
Sorry, I forgot they would have had the remote with them.
God.
The victim was killed with a blow to the head, so the question is, which evidence is... Right, okay. Sorry. Take that! Oh shit, did I bugger it again? Oh no, I actually just did. I guess the bomb could have equally worked. Well, we're about to see what the game over screen looks like. In the first trial. God, that never happens. Except for in Ace Attorney 4 as well. When it happened.
That's enough. I see no need to further prolong this trial. The Avengers case is insufficient to overturn the prosecution's claims. This court finds the defendant, Juniper Woods, extremely murderified.
So that could have gone better. Yes, I heard it the first time. Try again. Let me back in there. The bomb. Sorry. Mr. Tenate, you say you didn't have anything that could be used as a weapon. But in fact, you had the perfect thing.
What? What the devil are you talking about?
Though I don't see precisely why that it had to be that over something like this. Or did they not have that at that point? No. When he was with Detective Candace Arm, they had that, right? I'm getting the timeline all confused. Forget it. We're here now. It's fine. You had this.
That's the bomb. I thought you were trying to prove that the victim wasn't killed by the bomb blast.
Not the blast. You got dunked on the head, mister. The bomb blast, no. But I believe Candace Arm was killed with this bomb. Because this is the blunt object that delivered the fatal blow to her head. Please recall the description of Detective Arm's head wound. Trauma to the back of the head caused by impact with a flat object. We assume this injury was sustained when her head hit the floor. But a blow from any flat side of this bomb would prove the exact same wound... But a blow from any flat side of this bomb would produce the exact same wound pattern. What's with him?
Then show me some proof. Where's the evidence that I hit the victim with the bomb?
He's right. I don't have anything decisive, which is why it could have been any of the 3 of the things that I picked earlier.
Did you find any of the victim's blood on the bomb? That would be decisive proof.
I suppose I didn't.
But too bad. The bomb is blown to bits. It's long gone. Boom! Game over! Yeah!
Mr. Wright, is there really nothing on the bomb in the photo? Well, it's cracked, but that's not proof that it cracked when he hit her. But I guess if we present it, maybe he'll freak out. Like, we don't have any other photographs from before that to show it wasn't cracked before that point, so that means nothing. I don't see any blood or anything. Wait, the timer display is a little broken here. Maybe it broke when it made contact with Detective Arm's head? That's definitely a distinct possibility, but unless we find a fragment with the victim's blood on it, it's not going to count. I guess you're right. By setting off the bomb, Tenate managed to obliterate all traces of the murder weapon. What in the world do I do now? This is one of those things where I get so deep into it that I forget what it is I'm trying to prove. So the problem is that we can't pinpoint a murder weapon to him because there's no weapon with blood on it that he would also be likely to have held, I guess. But is there something else about the bomb that would prove that he would use it as a murder weapon? I mean, I guess as an expert, he would know how heavy it was. And like how deadly it would be to be hit by it. Oh my god, sorry, I just realized. This isn't saying it was 12:16 in the morning, 8 seconds and 56 milliseconds. It was December 16th at 8 a.m. My god, sorry, I can't believe I was reading that wrong the whole time. I was like, that's such a weird way to write the time. I don't know if that especially helps us, but it's worth noting. You know, I've already forgotten which day everything took place on. What day is it now? Well, let's just see where they go with this. Times like this, I've got to change gears and look at things in a different way. Instead of looking out for the things he wasn't able to hide, I should be looking for a way to expose the things he did hide. Ted Nate murdered Detective Arm before the trial started. Then he placed her body in the courtroom after the bomb went off. Which means there was something he needed to keep hidden until then. The body. Or unless he's going the route of... That's why he could... There was blood on the bomb, but he put it back inside the stuffed animal so you couldn't see it. Because we know it was inside the stuffed animal for reasons we don't understand. when it blew up. And I think I have just the thing. Time to present the photo that shows exactly what Mr. Nate had to hide. Well, I mean... So a photo, he's told us it was a photo. Oh right, he also had to hide the bloody writing though. Well, he had to hide the bloody writing and the body. We're back at max health, so the only thing to lose is my pride here. and I can't say I know for sure whether he's talking about the body or the bloody writing. Probably the writing makes more sense. Take that! Your Honor, please take a look at this. The fact that God damn it. The fact that Mr. Nate hid this makes it decisive evidence for my case.
I'm not sure I really understand what you mean by that, Wright.
I'm not sure either, Your Honor.
Me either. Here's a penalty to inspire you to make more comprehensible assertions in the future.
Well, that was a spectacular belly flop, but I can't back down now. I better reconsider what he could have hidden, which was the body. Oh, unless you're saying he had to hide the crack. But we just said that we can't... Never mind. It was the body. I'm having an existential crisis right now. Don't talk to me. Maybe it's just been way too long. I don't know why it is that I'm not connecting with this game at all so far. We have never once been on the same page. Your Honor, there's something we've all been overlooking. If the murder took place before the trial, then Mr. Nate would have had to hide the body somewhere during the trial. Yeah, you're right. And if we can figure out where that hiding place was... Exactly. We may be able to find some evidence we can pin him down with. So where can Mr. Nate have hidden the body during the trial? Oh, the case, I guess. I can't think of a location, and the case is pretty damn big. But I can't think of any evidence we have that proves that she could have been in there. I guess we can have forensics check the bomb transport case, but... Wait. A box big enough for a body, a box that was in the courtroom the whole time. A box nobody would touch if they thought there was a bomb in it. Mr. Nate.
What is it? Do you finally have some decisive evidence to show me?
No. You're the one who's going to show it to me.
Come again.
You heard me. Now show me what's inside that bomb transport case. Right, he wouldn't have had time to clean it, I guess. Or would he?
What? No, there's no need.
I've got him now. Just before the trial, you killed the victim with a blunt object, and then you placed her body in the ruins of the courtroom after the bomb went off. Clearly you were trying to make it look like she died in the explosion, but where was the body hidden during the trial?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
The answer is right here. Inside a box made of thick alloy plating that can withstand any impact.
No, that's completely false.
If it's false, you should have no objections to showing us your transport case. So, let's open it up and take a look inside, shall we? No, he wouldn't have had a chance to clean the blood off. Okay, I guess, so if she was in there, there's gonna be blood in there, I guess. That's gonna be it. That's gotta be the explanation. Who held a single it just then? Oh, it was him. What, did he type it very loudly?
Let's not. Not if you value your life.
What's he up to now? It sounded like he just threatened me, actually. Can someone take note of that, please?
Remain calm and listen carefully. This bomb will detonate in 5 minutes.
What? Huh?
I repeat, this HH-3000 will detonate in 5 minutes.
Or in fact in a few days, because regrettably, that's all the time we have for now. It was all the time a while back, but I wanted a single dub in this entire episode, and I still don't have it. I'm just gonna look to the future and say that I'll do better in the second trial. Regardless, that is where this episode is going to have to end for now. So the next video going up the channel is gonna be some more Tales of Symphonia. We're hovering around the end of that one, and I've been saying it for like the last 3 episodes. We might be near the end. I think this time for realsies, we actually are gonna be... I'm going to bet a whole sum of 0 Great British pounds with 0% interest rate that next episode will be the conclusion of Tales of Symphonia. And next time here, hopefully we'll get some kind of satisfying end to this trial. I'm sorry you had to watch what you had to watch. I have no idea where this is going. This seems extremely unpleasant. And that's all for now. So thank you so very much for coming around to this episode of Days Journey Dual Destinies. Even though I'm bad at it, I'm having a great time. Thank you so very much for coming around to this episode. Hopefully I'll see you around. Admiral's gonna be out of here now. Peace! And then, oh, that was a good. And there's a desk over here with some shotgun stuff in it, right? Is that a clip there? It is. Hot diggity, we're finally building up a bit of a supply here. I do believe there were herbs and ink ribbons in the next room. Various things.